Tarik Skubal versus Garrett Crochet, tight American League Cy Young race right now. They're very close in ERA, but yeah, what's going on there, Jake?
Yeah, they're very close in ERA. They're very close in strikeouts. They're very close to, I know it doesn't really matter, but team wins. Every time they kick the mound, their team ends up winning because they pick so good. I know, like I say, it really doesn't matter. No, what really matters is their ERA and their strikeout numbers, their whip and their numbers, but this race is very tight. It's going to go down to the end. I think in the end, I think Tarik Skubal wins it over Garrett Crochet, but I'm not positive on that. Evan, what do you think?
I think we don't know right now. I remember, especially on this podcast, we were talking how Spencer Strider in 2023 was a lock. You guys remember we had that big campaign, and he had an amazing season. But little did we see Blake Snell was coming up with an amazing
Right.
ERA. Spencer Strider was the strikeout guy, obviously, but I think it's too early. They're just dead close. Jake said that they're pretty much equal in wins above replacement, ERA, wins. I didn't even know that. Strikeouts, I think Crochet has 175, Skubal has 171. Like they are they are right there. I think if you asked me when I'm watching who is the more dominant pitcher, probably Skubal by a smidge. Just because of especially earlier in the season, how dominant he is. But then you see Garrett Crochet striking out the side, putting up 11 strikeout games on the regular. So, it's gonna. I think the true answer is we don't know right now. But if you were to ask me, I would. I think Skubal is by a smidge. Not that Crochet's worse, but just Scooble is just on a different level. And everyone who's seen him this year so far has said that. But and they had a little bit of a cold streak in July too, so you got to keep in mind that with his numbers. But
Yeah.
so yeah,
And Skubal pitches today against the Philadelphia Phillies, so we'll see how that shapes out.
yeah, Timmy, what do you think?
If you'd have asked me like just before the All-Star break, I would have said Skubal has it locked. Like he pulled away. But as a Vols fan, I hate saying this because I hate the Red Sox. Garrett Crochet, he's been one of my favorite pitchers since he's been drafted. But he's having a phenomenal season with the Red Sox, and I can see him pulling out and stealing this thing. Like you mentioned, Strider and Blake Snell. I think I think Skubal has a slight edge over him. It's nowhere near what it was, but if we continue on this pace, it'll be Crochet. Um, but right now, it's still Skubal by just a little bit.
Important point. I think we got to realize how they decide these awards too. I think ERA is a huge thing. I think he had around 3 ERA that season, and noticeably Blake Snell was lower. I think he was closer to 2. So that's why they gave Strider had all the strikeouts. Chris Sale back in the day with the White Sox, he would have 300 strikeouts and not get it. I think whoever has the lower, and we don't know, it could be Crochet, it could be Scooble, but I think whoever has, like, if one has a 2 ERA and one has a 2.5, I don't think it matters how much the guy with 2.5 has. I think they're going to give it to the guy with the lower ERA. I think that's just how in the past they've given this award. So I think they'll probably keep doing it that way.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think it depends on obviously independent stats as well. But I think also the team's winning because, like you mentioned, Evan, that's how they get it in past years. And obviously we talk about ASI Young, but also we're going to talk about NSI Young with Paul Steens. That shouldn't be the case. Paul Steens is just dominant enough. It shouldn't really matter how the Pirates are playing this year because we all know. I mean, the Pirates are not doing good this year. That's just about it. But it shouldn't matter how the team is doing. It should matter how the player is doing. And
Yeah,
I've always said.
I don't think really quick. I don't think they care too much about that. It's just it would be like if Paul Skeens was at the end of the year, he had under a 2 ERA, like I think he does now. There's no way you could not give it to him. But if Jake is making a good point, if it's close, if it's like he has slightly better stats than one, but the other guys on the Dodgers, like I don't know, say it's Glasnow or Kershaw or whoever, like then they might give it to him. So it just depends on how that goes.
Yeah, Evan, I know we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. We were talking about the lowest ERAs in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, Jake quizzed
Jacob
me. It took me
DeGrom,
like 20 minutes to get this, but I did get it, to be fair. Yeah.
Jacob DeGrom has actually moved out of the top five to make
Old
room
man
for
DeGrom.
Matthew Boyd.
Matthew Boyd, that's solid for him. Yeah, old man DeGrom, I guess, took a step back, but that's to be
Yeah,
expected.
obviously, Parsons is still at number one. His ERA at 1.83, which I just think is ridiculous.
It got
Um,
lower. It was 1.9 when I last saw. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, he's 45 career starts. He has a 1.89 ERA, which is just insane.